Welcome back. Today's class is different. This is not a GS2 lecture. This is not current affairs. This is not a prediction video. Today we are decode something more important. We are opening 13 years of UPSC GS2 main papers from 2013 to 2025. After finishing those two classes regarding directive words which will be useful in the answer writing, we are moving to GS2 structural autopsy. That is from 2013 to 2025, 13 years of UPSC mains GS2 papers, PYQ analysis, and asking only one question, that is, what actually is UPSC rewarding? Because students make one dangerous mistake. They collect notes, they collect PDFs, they collect current affairs, but they never ask what is the examiner actually selecting for. Today, that is our job. And let me say this very clear, we are not analyzing PYQs to predict questions. We are analyzing PYQs to understand thinking, to understand shift, to understand the direction of the UPSC. Because UPSC does not reveal next year's paper, but UPSC leaves fingerprints inside PYQs, that is previous year's questions. Students usually use PYQs incorrectly. Most students do this. They read question, they read topper answer, then underline, then move on. This is the system usually students approach. That is the wrong thinking. But why I am saying this like this? Why I am saying this? A PYQ is not a question. A PYQ is evidence. Every question tells us what UPSC valued, what UPSC ignored, what UPSC rewarded. So today, do not ask, will this exact question repeat or not? Please ask, will this thinking repeat? Because that changes preparation. Because UPSC repeating themes, repeating architectures, repeating patterns, but not repeating questions. The repeating the themes, that is we have to understand. Now let us travel back to 2013 and 2014. What have changed in GS2? We have to examine. GS2 looked different. Questions were more direct, structure, provision, then body, then institution. This is the theory. This is the process. This is the flow. You could often answer through constitution plus standard notes plus current affairs. But slowly something changed. UPSC started moving question by question, year by year, from provision to institution, from provision, institution, conflict, accountability, then reform. This is the structural shift UPSC taken from 2013 to 2025. Look carefully at the papers of 2021 to 2025, 21 to 25. Constitutional morality, judicial accountability, amendment limits, center state finances, e-governance bias, energy security. These are not memory questions, these are governance questions. This is the shift UPSC have changed. So UPSC is no longer asking what does the constitution say. UPSC is asking what happens when systems collide. That is the biggest shift in GS paper 2. So let us begin first engine, that is constitution. What is the constitution? Students think constitution means articles, schedules and amendments. But that is not correct. That is not alone is insufficient. That is not alone is sufficient. But look at recent previous year questions. They asked about constitutional morality. They asked about right to privacy. They asked about judicial independence. They asked about judicial overreach. They asked about amending power of parliament. They asked about pardon power of president. These type of questions are asked in UPSC. So look at carefully. UPSC is not asking define etc. UPSC is asking apply, like applied questions. We have to apply the theory, the process. The old preparation model, article, definition, conclusion. This structure gone. We have to adapt the new preparation model, that is constitutional value, then institutional tension, then conflict, then balanced resolution. This is the present answer architecture should be as far as constitution in GS2 is concerned. Because the days are gone to write an answer with using of article, then definition, then conclusion. The days are gone. The new preparation model we have to adapt, because the way of UPSC asking questions is changed dramatically. So comes to the new preparation model, we have to write an answer like this. The structure should be like this: constitutional value, then institutional tension, then conflict, then balanced resolution. That's it. That is the answer structure. That is the pattern. That is the flow of the answer. Let's say example for easily understanding. Question: constitutional morality. For this constitutional morality question, how we will write the answer? Most students write just meaning, case laws, conclusion. That's it. This is not the correct way. But UPSC is actually asking, when constitutional offices become powerful, what protects democracy? See the shift. The constitution has become operational, not theoretical. That is why I, I said earlier, apply, applicable thinking, not define, not definitions, not theoretical. Preparation implications we have to adapt for 2026 like this. Concept we have to prepare like this: concept plus case plus conflict plus recent applications and plus balanced reform. For every constitutional topic you can take, prepare like this only. For every constitutional topic you have to take, You have to prepare like this way, like concept, then concept plus case plus conflict plus recent application plus balanced reform. This should be the preparation formula. Concept, case, conflict, recent application and balanced reform. This should be the preparation formula for every constitutional topic you take for 2026 mains examination. Do not prepare static notes. Prepare living institutions. Why? Because UPSC changed. Asking the way of UPSC questions also changed. So we have to achieve good marks for the help for the qualifying the exam and get good marks with good rank. So that for that we have to understand and follow the UPSC. What UPSC is asking, for that only we have to perform. That's it. We are moving to the engine number 2, that is who governs India. Now this is the second shift. Till now we are discussing about constitution, that is the first engine. Then comes to the governance. Who governs India? That is regarding federalism. What is the federalism? Students think federalism means union list, state list, and concurrent list. Finished. That's it. That is regarding federalism. But that's not the correct idea. Why? Because I am saying like this. Look at PYQs, look at previous year questions. Center state finance, GST, goods service taxes, trust, local bodies, functionality, CBI, local governance. Look at the topics, look at the shift like this: trust, power, money, delivery, trust, reform. So questions like this: center state finance, GST, trust, local bodies, functionality, CBI, local governance. The questions have been asked like that. Let's say, take the question, what UPSC is actually asking? Power? No, it is asking where does governance actually happen. They are not interested in power, they are asking about the governance. That is, that governance also, where does governance actually happen? And that type of questions UPSC is interested. Look carefully. Money may sit here, money may sit here, accountability may sit somewhere else. This is modern federalism. Money may sit here, money may sit here, responsibility may sit there, accountability may sit somewhere else. This is modern federalism. Look at very carefully. Money may sit here, money may sit here, responsibility may sit there, accountability may sit somewhere else. So this is the modern federalism. Earlier, division of powers, but now division of responsibility. That changes answer. Let's say, for example, do not write federalism means power sharing. That should be the weak answer. You have to write modern Indian federalism increasingly operates through fiscal design, institutional coordination, and a delivery mechanism. Look, look at here. Immediately answer quality changes. So what should be the preparation implication for students 20 who will appear 2026 mains? Prepare every federal topic through power, then money, then delivery, then trust, then reform. This is the sequence: power, money, delivery, trust, reform. This should be the sequence of preparation. So comes to the what should change for 2026. What should change for 2026? Let's take one question, that is, after seeing 13 years PYQs, should students study more what you are analyzing and what you are understanding? No, students should study differently. Do this for every GS topic. What type of things you have to do? You can follow these steps. What are the steps for GS2? Step 1, read the syllabus. First of all, read the syllabus. Then step 2, read all previous year questions. Then comes to the step 3, ask yourself what changed. Then step 4, build one page architecture. Build one page architecture. Then last and final step, practice execution. For every GS topic, you can follow these steps. Read syllabus, read all PYQs, ask yourself what changed. Means observe the shift, build one page architecture, then practice execution. This should be the plan. Because marks are not hidden in content. Marks appear when content matches examiner expectation in the form of answers. So today we did not predict mains 2026. You understand? We did not predict mains 2026. We did something more powerful. We learned to observe. We learned about where marks exist when content into one, when content with multiplication of examiner expectation. That is most important for achieving good marks rather than etc etc. UPSC did not secretly change the syllabus. You have to remember this. But year after year, it changed what it rewards. And students who understand that stop preparing randomly. Comes to the Metis answer rule. When you have observed the question, when you have read the question, after reading the question, you have to identify the topic of the question, then identify the directive of the word, then you have to prepare the answer structure, then only you have to write the answer, that is the execution part. After reading the answer, you don't have to start write randomly. That should be the blunder, because in UPSC mains answer writing, identify the topic and identify the directive, means explain, discuss, evaluate, analysis, analyze, critically examine, critically analyze, these type of words, trace, highlight, comment, these type of words, directive words. In the previous two classes we are elaborately discussed about directive words. Please go through those videos, two classes. Then structure, what is the structure? Answer structure based on directive of the question, structure. Then execution. In that structure we have to write opening, that is introduction, then body, then final closure, that is conclusion. It depending on the directive words. Next and final thing, execution, that is writing. This is the Metis rule. This should be mostly helpful to the students in the examination. These are all things you have to do within 6 to 7 minutes of the time in the mains examination. So that is why you have to be very prepared. You have to be very prepared. And students who understand that, stop preparing randomly. So comes to the next class, we go very deeper. We decode parliament, governance, delivery. Why good policies fail and how UPSC converts all of that into marks. In this class, we discuss federalism type of engine and constitution engine. Comes to the constitution engine, how can we prepare? And comes to the federalism engine, we how can we prepare? That is discussed in this class so far. In the next class, we are going to discuss parliament, governance, delivery. That should be the governance part mostly. So, and how UPSC converts all of that into marks. This is Metis IAS. UPSC does not repeat questions. UPSC repeats architectures. Please remember this.